Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Rose live stream here on July the 3rd. Today, we're going to do a special conversation about another member of our famous St. Joe people. Luella Owens is actually going to be talking about today. But before we start that, we're going to do a little bit of conversation about some of the stuff going on here at the Row. We are closed tomorrow for the 4th of July, so no one will be here. So don't kind of swing by. You can definitely come by and see our gardens. If you want to check those out, we've had a little work on the upper gardens. But along with that, when we do reopen again next week, we have some really amazing items that have come in. As you know, Cat Designs has been a great partner for us over the last couple months here. They brought by a bunch of really great new items, some earrings, some necklaces. I know my daughter already came by and spent some of her hard-earned chore money on a few items here. So if you want to hurry up and come by, you definitely should. But along with that, we definitely would like you to come see some of the other stuff. And right now, Cat Designs is actually running a very, very special promotion with us here as our membership month is coming up very soon. We're actually doing a deal now, and if you get a membership for the Row, I know some of you that watch here aren't members of the Row yet. If you come by and start a membership with us here in the month of July, you'll get a full 10% off any item you buy from Cat Designs. That means paintings, their jewelry, painted rocks, which are new here, some really cool tic-tac-toe items. I know my daughter was really thinking about buying one of those when she came by the other day, along with some postcards, some boxes, and some different things you can hang up at your house. So definitely do come swing by and see us and take advantage of that great deal. Of course, membership here at the Row is not just to get Cat Designs items. You'll get access to some of our great events that we do, including our Christmas party, which I will say is a pretty exciting event every year. We also do Joe's birthday, which is a lot of times a members-only event, or at least the dinner part of it is. So you're going to be able to enjoy a dinner with some of your fellow members here at the Row, along with free entry into the museum anytime you want to come and see what we got going and see some of the new exhibits that we have. Speaking of new exhibits, we do have some new ones that have rolled out that we'd love you guys to come by and see if you could. Just come see us here at the Row and check out what we're doing right now. So to get in what we're talking about today, as I said, we're covering Miss Luella Agnes Owens today. Luella Owens was the second of the Owens sisters. Luella was born in 1892 or 1852. Second of as like I said, the second child of seven. And she was about 6 years old when the Hannibal St. Joe Railroad was finished. And about seven and a half when the first rider left on the Pony Express. So she was probably around when both those things happened, and probably visited the Pony Express when that occurred. And so, like her sister, her education was mostly done at home, uh, partially because of the war. When it happened, she had to be taught at home for about 3 to 4 years due to the war closing all the schools. She then later was able to go to St. Joseph Public High School and was actually graduated as valedictorian. Um, we don't know if it was in 1870 or 1872 because it was not customary to ask her age. And some women would actually, her obituary actually shaved 5 years off of her age when she was buried. She never had an actual education at a college, from what we found. In the 1870s, when she graduated from high school, geology, which is what she went into, was not viewed as a women's study. They weren't allowed to study that at all. So she would study journals and maps and just spent years studying those things and started to learn how to do spelunking. Um, as she traveled, when she was early in her adulthood, she would travel some, attend to the social obligations she was supposed to, and then eventually she realized that there were caves in the area that she could go spelunking into. So she supported her family for a long time, and then about the 1890s, when her father died, she started to go on a whirlwind tour of spelunking caverns. She was known for being one of the first people to ever visit the caverns that are in the Ozarks. And then the picture that we have there, the cave regions of the Ozarks, was a book that she actually wrote and produced in the 1896 is when she actually published that one. And that book, for almost 50 years, was the primary book used to explain the Ozark Mountains. Due to this book, she was then accepted into the what's called the Society of Spelunking, which was in France, and she was the first and only woman at the time accepted into the society. She was also then later given a society or entrance in the American Society of Science under the American Geological Society, which is still a thing today. Uh, Both of those were groups that she was the first woman ever to be brought into and the first woman ever to be allowed to be part of. Um, so her book is still available. It's very hard to find sometimes, but her book about the cave region of the Ozarks was actually part geological study, part guidebook, and part travel narrative. So it was kind of used as a way to have people know what was going on in the Ozarks. She also went to spend a lot of her time going up into the South Dakota region and kind of studying what was there. So around 1900, the turn of the century, when many people her age were retiring or were no longer going to be involved because that was actually the views the average American lifespan at the time. That is when she decided to start studying dirt. She started studying around the area and figured out that there was a lot of the Los Hills. The concept of Great Glaciers leaving dirt behind was a known concept at the time, not old. It was only about 25 or about 50 years old that that concept became a thought process. But she realized that the dirt that was around here was a lot different than the dirt that they were seeing in a lot of other regions. It had that refined light brown dirt, which I know if you've been around St. Joe, you know what that looks like. And so, as part of her study, she went around and found that those same type of dirt were basically only through the Missouri River Valley area here in the area. And so she started traveling the world looking into that type of dirt. And so she traveled up and down this Midwestern area, and then also traveled at a time to China and studied the loess dirt that they had in that region as well. And so she spent a lot of her time studying that and wrote a number of books and studies on the loess dirt. One of her books was known as the she called it the Bibliotheca Sacra. She wrote an article for that called concerning the Lansing skeleton because there was a skeleton found in loess dirt in Lansing, uh, Kansas, which she was actually brought in as the primary person to explain how the dirt worked and how it preserved the person. And later she wrote a book called The Later Studies on Loess in about 1926. A paper that she did wrote when she went to Geneva to present what's called the Missouri River and its future impact or importance on Europe. It actually has been reprinted in the United States Congress records in 1913. So through all that time, she was traveling around, writing articles about what she was doing, and then when she turned 72, her age really started catching up with her. So we're talking 1927. She was still highly active, but her age was starting to catch up with her. She chose to stop traveling, started writing genealogy books for the family, and live with her sisters at the time. She spent a lot of time with some visitors visiting her, but mostly helping going through everything that she and her sisters had acquired over the years as a as three scientists, obviously. Um, as she got older and older, she eventually succumbed to illness. In 1932, actually May 31st, 1932, she did pass away from pneumonia. Um, but she did still endow her about $500 in her name to a group called the AAAS, which is the American Society of Spelunking, and it covered membership dues as needed. So at the time, that was a ton of money for people to be able to cover their membership dues. So as she passed away, and is now rests in Mount Mora with her sister, All the sisters are actually in the Owens family tomb. And so that was just a little bit about Miss Luella Agnes Owens. As I said, she was a very, very important part of the geological studies of our country. A lot of the geology that we now know about the Midwest, and the dirt and the rocks and the caving systems were all thanks to her. Like I said, she was the earliest adopter of geology for women that was accepted by the Geological Society of America, along with other geological societies and spelunking societies in the world. So she was really a trailblazer. So next week we're going to go over their younger sister, Miss Juliet Owens. Juliet is a fascinating character as well, and founded some pretty amazing things that still exist here in St. Joseph today. As I said earlier, we definitely do hope you come by and check out some of the stuff from Cat Designs. Like I said, we have some really great items, some painted rocks my daughter picked up the other day. And definitely do come by and see the museum because we have some great new exhibits like we talked about in the past, as well as some other ones that we're rolling out all the time. We definitely do thank you guys so much for joining us today here on the Facebook Live. And like I said, if you don't have a membership, please do come by, get yourself set up with one so we can have you invited to all the great events this year, as well as once everything starts opening up in 2021. Some great events we have planned for the bicentennial of Missouri, as well as member-only events that we're going to be doing through the year. So thanks so much for joining us here today, and we do look forward to hearing from you soon. And if you have any other questions about the Owen sisters, or especially Luella, leave them down in the comments section. All right, thanks. Bye.